from the British Council, and I am the chairperson for the colloquium now. And I'm also the project manager for the project that is being spoken about today. So it's my huge pleasure to introduce to you a panel of colleagues who are working on a project called the Certificate in Online English Language Teaching, which we also call the Coelt. You'll hear people call it the Coelt. So first I'd like to introduce you to Sikambuzo Sibanda. He's a lecturer at Rhodes University, and he's the president of the National Association of English Teachers of South Africa, elected in 2019. He's also an endorsed master trainer for the Coelt project. And then I'd like to introduce you to Thokozile Sibuya.
Yes, Sibuya.
Sibuya. Sorry, her daughter changed her WhatsApp name, so I'm confused. Sibuya, and she's a lovely teacher from a school in Mpumalanga called
Susheko.
A primary school teacher, and she's using the online teaching pedagogy you'll learn today with her learners, and she did during COVID as well. And she'll tell you a bit more about her school. Then I'd like to introduce you to Trish Menvu, who you'll know if you're from Eastern Cape.
And if you've been here at all, you've had a lot to say.
Yes, so she's a curriculum specialist for DBE and a subject advisor at FET phase in English First Additional Language, and a long-term friend of the British Council, I must say. She's a master trainer for Coelt, and she's the Coelt coordinator in her province. And then finally, from Northwest Province, Kia Heletse Sechohela Pat, who is the deputy president of LITASA. She used to be a curriculum specialist in Northwest, but now she's with teacher development. She's that alignment person we're talking about. She's the PSRIP master trainer. She's the EGRS coordinator. She's the Coelt coordinator. She's the LITASA coordinator, so she's doing all of those things. And she's an endorsed master trainer for the Coelt course, which is what we're talking about today. And then finally, zooming in from Northeast Spain is Anna Cole. Anna is a learning consultant, and she'll be sharing the slides for us today. She is a world-renowned e-learning specialist who has been training and working with this group and their colleagues. So there's another 40 master trainers. There's about 1,000 teachers, and we've just started with another group of 150 master trainers and 4,000 teachers. So that's enough from me. Over to Sikambuzo to start. I'm just going to make this bigger.
Yes, sorry, Joe. I don't know quite how big you wanted it.
Anna, can you share? Can you hear me, Anna?
Sharing.
Okay. She'll share her slides. Okay.
Thank you, Joe. Good afternoon, colleagues. We're talking here today about bridging the digital divide. But before we talk about bridging the digital divide, what is it? What is the digital divide? The digital divide refers to the gap in demographics and regions that have access to modern information, communications technology, and those that don't have or have restricted access to that. The communications technology can include, but is not limited to, telephones, cell phones, personal computers, and most importantly, internet connectivity. It also pivots on the access of that at an affordable cost and at quality. Just my slides are playing games.
You have to look at that one and ask Anna to move it on.
Okay, Anna, can you move with me if you're hearing me?
Okay, Sikambuzo, on the second slide.
Okay, the digital divide in South African education. We'll look at the report, and then we'll also look at lockdown and its effect Then DBE partnership with British Council to developing a Coelt course. Learning loss has increased as educators and students have taken to remote learning. And allow me to remove my mask, please. And internet usage from home is required by everyone, particularly low-income families and those in areas who have limited access to the right technology or to internet connectivity. The greatest challenge facing contemporary South Africa is the level of inequality in our society. Online teaching and learning have often been perceived to widen the gap in the inequalities in education, and education has become a preserve of the privileged, of those with access to resources like the devices we're talking about, data, software apps, and connectivity. The advent of the pandemic has also worsened this divide. The start of lockdown in March 2020 has forced South African schools to close or to not to have constant attendance. Inconsistent attendance, which then resulted in learning loss. Schools, teachers, parents have been trying to go digital with varying levels of success. While the efforts are laudable, they have reflected one inescapable truth. There is a huge digital divide in South Africa. That divide, therefore, has resulted in DBE partnering with the British Council to roll out Coelt in its sincere effort to bridge this divide. The COVID-19 pandemic also meant that 80% of households who comprise of 80% of our learners had very limited access to online curriculum materials and virtual classrooms. Hence, new ways had to be sought to continue to support or to start supporting those that were not supported, were not privileged to have such gadgets and connectivity. Coelt, which Joyce mentioned earlier, is the certificate in online English language teaching, which was developed in 2020 by the Department of Education and the British Council with the support of the consultancy of which Anna is part of. Coelt aims to make language and literacy teaching more equitable and more accessible to all learners, teachers, and parents alike. How do we make this then accessible? We then choose right platforms, virtual platforms. First we chose WhatsApp. Why WhatsApp? WhatsApp, because of its simplicity, it's not heavy on data usage, it is motivating and engaging. Almost all the learners also have the cell phones and are able to use WhatsApp. Learners and teachers, parents alike, they love WhatsApping, so why not go into their fields and help them to learn in that category? So you can also learn anytime, anywhere, be it in your bathroom, in the toilet, sitting room, anywhere it is a learning space. WhatsApp reaches the 4 skills, that is real-time chatting groups. You can use audio, you can use photos, you can share documents, and most importantly, we can hear each other's voices through voice notes. It's also a secure learning environment space. There is no bullying there in WhatsApp. If any, it's limited and it can be followed. It also gives us chances to create, pursue, and maintain online communities, learning communities, that is. Besides WhatsApp, what else can we look at? There is video conferencing platforms. The first one is Zoom, which is popular. It's a popular conference platform. Many people are used to Zoom, and therefore it is one which we can harvest and harness to teaching and learning. Then besides Zoom, we've got also Microsoft Teams. All schools if not most schools, have Teams because of the departmental regulations and its access. So it is better than to use Teams because schools are already using it. And it allows us to go to breakout rooms, and it's got all the main features that Zoom has. And also, it is not limited in terms of time like Zoom, which gives us 40 minutes if you're using a cheaper mode. So the Teams also complement. The three platforms that I've used can be used to complement and supplement each other. You cannot say, no, if I want to use Zoom, I'll use Zoom only. If I'm using WhatsApp, it should be strictly WhatsApp. It depends then on your target who will feel familiar or comfortable on that platform. That said, I would like to give over to my colleague who will take us through to what Coelt is and what it entails. Anna, over to you.
Hello everybody, thank you very much Sikambuso for leading me in. So I'm just going to thank you for giving such a wonderful background on the digital divide and showing us how relevant the Coelt course was and the times and circumstances in which it was conceived, and just how relevant it is now that e-learning is becoming part of our everyday lives. So before I share the slides, I'd just like to say hello. My name is Anna Coelt. I'm a language and e-learning consultant. I'm speaking to you from northeastern Spain today. I'm very happy to be here online with you. I'll be even happier next year if I can come out and really see you all, but fingers crossed there. So let me now take you through. I'm going to drop down and share the screen again and go back to our presentation. And I move on to the next slide. So I'd like to start just by giving an overview of the certificate in online English language teaching. It is aiming to bridge the digital divide, providing South African teachers with the skills and confidence they need for online learning. It introduces entry-level, data-light online teaching skills on a self-study course, an online self-study course, as well as WhatsApp live lessons, which is the groundbreaking, innovative feature of this course, and video conferencing tools. So our audience are South African teachers, bearing in mind from the very concept, the initial stages of the course, that we would be reaching out to teachers in deep rural areas with learners who have limited access to data and possibly sharing handsets. And that was the fundamental feature when we were conceiving the materials, and everything was developed from there. And in January and March, we, as master trainers, the TC team, trained the first Coelt participants. There were 90 of them, and they graduated, and of those 90, then 45 went on to become master trainers. So TC took a back step, mentoring and coaching them as they reached out to 539 teachers. And now we're cascading out in the second stage of the project, and we're hoping to bring another 4,500 teachers on board and 150 master trainers as we move into the next stage. So just to say that it is the, I've just made it certificate in online language teaching there, not English language teaching. I've taken out the English because, in fact, what's happening, and since the very beginning, is that the Coelt course is reaching out with methodologies, strategies and techniques to teachers of all subject areas and all age groups. So it's not just particular to English language anymore. So if you will allow me, I'd just like to, without further more ado, just give a very brief course structure overview. So the course itself takes 40 hours. It's fully online, but it now can be. There are materials now for us to run that live or blended. It can be over 6 weeks. There are 6 modules that can be run over 6 weeks, but in Gauteng we have the experience of 6-hour Saturday sessions over a series of months. So we have alternative formats and structures for delivering this course. And obviously it's aligned to EFAL. The materials on the course are taken from the DBE primary and secondary school EFL workbooks, as well as PR, SIP and LEAP, the English by Audio project material for grades 1 through to 12, and just to reiterate that they're useful for all subject areas because of the basic methodologies and activities can be extrapolated from these lesson plans. And obviously it's aligned to CIPELT and CICELT, British Council course training, so there's some solid underpinning of just your basic teaching methodology adapted to an online context, and CAPS assessment aligned to. And in the second column, these are the three main prongs of the course. So we have the self-study materials hosted on a Coelt Google site. So here we have quizzes, interactive exercises, tips and technical help, and lesson plans and manuals and all sorts of different types of material developed there, but always with South Africa in mind. So as I say, based on South African materials, but also with the audio recordings being made by South African teachers, and always in mind the rural areas and limited handsets. So it's a mobile-friendly course. It can be used in landscape, and there is no video, so it's low data. So the self-study materials were complemented by WhatsApp live lessons, 45 minutes of lessons. So in the 6-week format, that would be, for example, on a Tuesday, and afterwards time for hot notes, reflection, 15 minutes where everybody gets time to give their immediate impressions in a debriefing session. And we bring this into, say, on Thursday, a video conference session, either on Zoom or on Teams, as Sigambutho has said, to consolidate what we've learned in the WhatsApp session, but also to bring in and showcase key video conferencing skills, presentation skills, engagement triggers such as chat and reactions, screen share, and also some more advanced ones like using Google Documents in breakout rooms, so using two fairly advanced tools there to allow learners to collaborate in small groups, in digital small classrooms controlled by the trainer, and working on collaborative documents in real time where more than one person can add to the document. So the evaluation of the course is based on completing the exercises on the site, and at the end, the last task is a share it, a reflective task on the module, which is posted onto our main WhatsApp group, which the master trainer has with the participants, and everybody can comment and add their ideas on that. So that becomes a source of enlightenment and learning, and also attendance and participation in WhatsApp and in the VC session. So those are the three key features for evaluation. So just very briefly, because you can see them on the screen, so I'm not going to read them all out, but these are the 6 modules. So we're covering all of the key areas of online teaching skills, from synchronous, which is real-time learning, to asynchronous offline learning, and looking at inclusivity, collaboration, UDL, universal task design, and correction, feedback and assessment as the 6 areas over 6 weeks, so an average of 6 to 7 hours per week. So I'm sure you're all curious, if you haven't been a co-op participant, to know what a week in the life of a co-op participant would look like. Well, I think you can see it now. You've got 8 tasks, and 2 of these, so task 5 and task 6, are live. The other tasks are on the self-study site. So task 5 is the WhatsApp live lesson, like I said, in the hot notes, then the video conference, and then through to the share it note. And all of this would take 6 to 7 hours per week for each participant. So if you would like to look now at some snippets from the actual WhatsApp live lessons, I'll just talk you through that. And the title here is From Entertainment Through to Edutainment. So we're talking about how we transformed a platform which is used for communicating with your friends and family and for entertainment purposes into edutainment, where the WhatsApp group becomes a live classroom. So we used a series of frameworks to establish the clear sense that we were actually in a classroom. That would be like classroom rules, and also the the lesson outcomes, making sure that everybody completed a roll call and giving them homework, rounding up activities, but also some key features were getting into groups, because large groups are difficult to manage. Obviously on WhatsApp there's a lot of chaotic contributions, so by putting people into groups we managed to successfully control the interactions that were there. And then we brought in notebooks so that we could control what the others were doing. While one group was answering a question on WhatsApp, the others would be writing in their notebooks, and then at the end of the class they would photograph and share their notebooks in the main WhatsApp group for the teacher. So obviously what we have here is a tool that teachers can use to assess their learners by scrolling back and listening to the audios, reading the post, checking spelling, checking pronunciation and fluency, and also checking actual participation in class by having a clear photo of everybody's notebook to make sure everybody's on the same page. So my last slide in this session, and because we're in LITASA, is just to highlight how WhatsApp and all of the features of WhatsApp that Sikambu's told us about can be carefully integrated into a WhatsApp live lesson. We can use emojis and emoticons and make it into an informal learning space where learners' anxiety drops, their level of contribution rises, and they are recording their voices, listening to each other's recordings and replying back on those posts. So we've got speaking, listening, we've got writing skills going on in the notebooks, and also obviously within the WhatsApp group, texting taking place there in groups, asking different questions, and an increase in the amount of reading we can bring into our learners' lives. So we can either have short extracts and or record those on an audio and make sure that that's inclusive, so it's text plus video of short extracts of text with comprehension questions, or you could run a WhatsApp workshop type session where you were doing a summary of a book, a chapter of a book they were working on, and they could pick up on that in asynchronous, so offline self-study WhatsApp groups where they could be leveled according to their skill, or you could mix the ethnicities, etc. And they could carry on debating and discussion about the chapter that you've revised and told them about on the WhatsApp group, or you could bring that into a video conferencing session and put them into breakout rooms, and obviously when they will come back to the general assembly, get them to give each other feedback there. So there were some of the methodologies that we used on the course. So on that note, I'm going to pass on now to Zokozile, who's going to talk us through her experience of rolling out the co-op course with her learners, and I'll see you again at the end of the talk. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Joe. Sorry, I want to go and find someone.
Thank you very much. And good afternoon, colleagues. I'm here to talk about my journey after I've completed the Coelt course. Coelt equipped me on how to manipulate the online techniques and skills to teach language using online features, that is VN, the voice notes and the text. I had a problem because with COVID, our policies in schools changed. So the policy in my school that concerns the learning materials, the LTSM policy, changed completely. So I was not allowed to let the learners retrieve some books home. And that was a challenge because by then I was only teaching 38 learners out of the 168 that I'm supposed to teach in grade 7. So it was a great challenge. I first heard about the Coelt course via my curriculum advisor, Mr. Mtongwa. So he sent the voice, the WhatsApp message that there is a Coelt course, and I grabbed the opportunity with both hands. Though he said we will have to see how we will manage the data thing and stuff, because we are going to attend both online and both with Zoom and with WhatsApp. So I grabbed the opportunity because I think last year things were not good. We lost most of the time, and my school is huge. We've got 1,260 something learners. So we are doing rotational. So I grabbed the opportunities, and I realized that with Coelt, nothing is going to change. What is going to change concerning my work, what they do is just they equip me with how to use the online techniques to teach the learners, even though I'm not there with them online. Though it was challenging at first, because change, we know that transition is very difficult. It was challenging from face to face to online, but amazingly, it worked. It worked to my advantage, because with though they were not into the content, but they used the content to train us how we are going to deliver the various skills to the learners. What did I do? After a few lessons, I went around the classes and then I asked the learners, do you want me to teach you? They said yes. I said, but I can teach you. They said, how, ma'am? We are on COVID and we only have 2 classes. We are only teaching 2 classes from the 168. I said, I'm going to teach you on WhatsApp. They were very happy. Then I started going around the classes. During teaching time, I had to sneak around. If a teacher is late to go to the class, then I went in, and then, how many of you have got cell phone numbers? Those, and then they gave me their numbers. And then I put them down, and then I started the group. After collecting the numbers, I realized that 40% of those numbers are not on WhatsApp. That was a challenge. Then I had to go back to them. I said, no, it's not going to work, because we're going to need the WhatsApp to teach you. So they went back to their brothers, their mothers, their neighbors, their cousins, to ask those who have got smartphones so that they can give me their numbers to ask for permission. So that's how we started. Our lesson started at 16 hours so that I can accommodate the learner, their sisters when they come back from school, because they wouldn't allow them to have their phones the whole day and wait for me. So our lesson started at 16 hours, and the support that I got from parents was amazing. My school is a quintile 1 school, so it's a no-fee school. It's from the deep rural. Many parents are not working, are depending on the social grants, but the support that I got from the parents was wow. So what was really what really happened on the first day that we were supposed to start our lesson, when I opened my WhatsApp around 3:30, they were just saying, when are we starting? When are we starting, ma'am? There were lots and lots of posts. I think I sent Deb those posts to show how interested they were. What worked to my advantage? I was now able to reach the more learners that I was not able to reach before I got the Coelt certificate. I was able to download and post whatever it is that I think will assist my kids. I was also able to share materials that they wanted. Some would ask, ma'am, can I please post my poem that I have created? Ma'am, can I please share this and that? Learners would engage freely with each other. And then parents got feedback more regularly because the learners were using their parents' cell phones. Timid and the weepy learners attempted to answer questions because they were not on like face-to-face with the teacher. So the language police was not around to say, no, that is not the correct way. So the language police is not there. So the learners are now free to speak and stuff like that. Learners can go back and reflect and learn, and during their spare time when the lessons are over, they're also able to go back and integrate with whatever it is, or teach, assist one another with the whatever material that is there. Learners are now at the comfort, they are now learning at the comfort of their own homes, where they are not intimidated as such. And then the challenges. As I have said, my school is in Quantile 1, is an office school. Most of the parents are not working. The problem of data, the problem of not having smartphones, that was the only challenge that I had, but the support that I got from my school, from the SMT, from the parents, was overwhelming. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much to Tabo for that. Thanks, Joe. For me, I will summarize my Coelt journey using 3 key words. Expectations, which Kumbuzo have already discussed, when he said what was the drive towards us joining and doing the course, and when he said the fact that there was a need for us to bridge the digital divide. For me, that was the passion, that was the drive, coming from deep rural Eastern Cape. So I saw that as an opportunity to grab. And then Togo is a product of what as subject advisors who joined the course wanted to do. We wanted to arm teachers as passionate as Togo with the skills to work from anywhere, anytime. And looking at languages are not supported when it comes to most of the DBE intervention strategies. We always left out. So when this opportunity presented itself, it was, yay, we are there. We're finally going to have something to counter what our mates, counterparts, and everyone else is already doing in terms of intervention. So I'm going to mostly focus on my journey as a Coelt master trainer. It's a long journey. It started on the 25th of January, and to finally become a master trainer, it was on the 9th of March, and Anna remembers very well that the 9th of March was my birthday. That's when we graduated as master trainers. So for me, it was a memorable milestone, a memorable journey, an achievement, and a wonderful birthday present. So in our first group of educators, we had 29 passionate teachers. There was no speaking of data at that time. There was no speaking of assistance. It was who wants to do the course. We are available to train you. Come. So those are the people who were driven by the passion to help the kids who were sitting at home, especially the grade 10s and grade 11s, because everyone had completely forgotten about them. And these are the kids who, when you went to schools as a subject advisor to monitor, you would find that they were being only taught once or twice a week, and the teacher thought that that was it. Instead of seeing them face to face twice a week and teaching them every day, teachers only saw them twice a week and taught them just twice a week. So to cover up for learning losses, we had our 29 teachers. We trained them. They were very willing to be part of the first team. And we said to make it beautiful and to make it successful, we were going to work in our provincial subject planner. In the morning, all the other speakers were talking of collaboration and working with significant others. So Colleen Callahan, who is my partner and my co-trainer, decided we're going to work in the subject planner, and we managed to work him in so that when he went to national meetings and he had to report on what was happening in the province, when he spoke Coelt, he spoke from experience. So that was our first group. And then, like I have said, then we thought just training the English teacher, it is like a drop in the ocean. It's not helping much. And Colleen and I are quite good at experimenting. You heard the other Colleen when they had their session, their colloquium just before lunch break. They spoke about collaboration and working with others and making things happen. So Colleen and I decided, without Joe's knowledge, we were going to grab the opportunity to speak to a primary school in Mthatha and train the whole school using Coelt, material, and see if this project would really work. So that was experiment number one, and good people, it worked like magic. The whole school using Coelt to teach. It was so beautiful. We had 100% attendance, right from grade R teachers all the way to grade 7 teachers, because it's a small school with 22 teachers. They had teaching assistants as well, so we said, bring them aboard. We're going to train them, don't even worry. And then we had some FET colleagues who were left over from group 1. They fell off from group 1, so they joined in. So it was our first hybrid group made up of a grade R teacher, math, science, English, all the subjects in the primary school curriculum, and then we had FET teachers and 2 subject advisors. So it was a beautiful experiment. It worked perfectly, and up to now the school is still using the Coelt material to teach on WhatsApp. Schools were meant to open on the 19th of July, and when that didn't happen, that morning on the 19th, we saw ourselves added to the classes by the teachers, and we managed to monitor. I sent a screenshot to Yolanda and Terry at British Council and said, guess what? H2, the whole school is using Coelt, and they had used the whole school timetable from period 1 to the last period at 2 o'clock for all the classes, for all the subjects to teach using WhatsApp. So that was our success story number 2. And then we say to ourselves, yes, this does work in a whole school. Now what should we do? Who will help us to spread this program like a wildfire? So we decided in group 3, which we are training now, e-learning personnel right across from GET up to FET. We thought all the projects that are to do with online, digital, whatever's, e-learning has to be there, and we felt that by training e-learning, then the Coelt course will go a long way. So we have them on there. And then subject advisors, FET subject advisors, we decided, we're not going to go the language route. So there is a group, a pair actually of colleagues of ours who are master trainers. We said, you take the languages subject advisors, we're taking all the other subjects that are not languages. So that's whom we have there, because the idea is that if we have Coelt being known by all these various people, then it becomes easy for it to spread faster than if we keep it to the languages side. And fortunately, Joe gave us that blessing. So with that group, we almost finished. We are going to be in week 5 next week. And when we finish that group, we have a dream, good people. And our dream is that we train the SMTs, especially the HOTs in schools. And fortunately, God works in mysterious ways. I was one of the first few people with my colleague Colleen to be asked to become South African trainers of master trainers. from the beginning of next year, and this is when we're going to use that position to train HODs at schools, because we have a dream, and that dream is to see Coelt taking place not only at subject level, at languages level, but we have a drive, and that drive is one school at a time and one subject advisor at a time. And with that dream, Coelt will go viral in South Africa. And Joe, come Vision 2022, will make it to that number that we want to reach. Thank you. Now I'll give over to Pat. She's got.
You had another slide.
Oh, this one. I've already done it. Anna was behind the leg. We have said that we wanted the dream to just have everything. Like we have also, the one thing is the opportunities on workshops, experiments. Colleen and I have experimented on using Coelt course to do workshops with teachers. We have done 2 workshops so far, and we have hooked in my boss from DBE, Buli Muyaki, who is the one who actually introduced us to the course. We have hooked him in to be an observer whilst we were workshopping teachers on creative writing using the Coelt live WhatsApp method, and it worked wonderfully well. Pat, you already here. Pat is going to talk more on the collaboration between the National Association of English Educators, British Council, and DBE. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Trish. She's also Patricia, so we are sharing a name. A lot has been said from yesterday about the different programs that we have as a system of education that are there to make sure that our learners are able to read with meaning. Now, all those programs have been there before COVID. Now, how are we as a nation going to make sure that we are able to reach all these learners? You heard Thokozile spoke about her school from the deep end, or the deep rural, where teachers, sometimes you'll find them not being able to buy their own data. What more would we expect from parents? Because obviously we know that they are not working. So how do we then communicate with these learners after having gone through this new pandemic that we are never expecting? We just found ourselves in that situation. And as NIADSA Deputy President, we saw it fit, after being confronted by DBE and the British Council, to say we have this program that will assist us in making sure that we are able to communicate with colleagues from different provinces, in making sure that we are sharing good practices, even nationally. Thokozile spoke of Mpumalanga, Trish spoke of Eastern Cape, and as NIADSA, we expanded everything by covering the different provinces within our country. It's only Limpopo that is not part of this rollout for now, but only under NIADSA. There are other colleagues who are also training, but not under the banner of NIADSA. Now, one of our main aims as NIADSA is to make sure that teachers are able to be exposed or be provided to opportunities that will later on give them a better opportunity when coming to having to teach the learners in class. How do we do that? We look at professional development. And that is why when we were told by the DBE and the British Council to say, let's start this, we took it by hand and we saw something that will also assist us. Mind you, before this Coelt course, I didn't know that you can download WhatsApp on your laptop. say thank you to Coelt course because I'm now exposed to the different skills that could be used at school and even when learners are at home. Now, after having been engaged with so many things that had to happen before everything, we then had to recruit. At the beginning, it was not easy because teachers had to buy their own data for them to be able to participate. At first, we had about 30 teachers from the Northwest Province. And we did not start immediately because we thought our province would provide data for those teachers. But unfortunately, it could not happen. So I then had to check those that had submitted their names, if they will be able to provide for themselves, and only 16 out of those were able to take it further. Skumbuzo Sibanda, I'm referring to my president here, he also recruited 6 from his province, which is the Northern Cape, and also 1 colleague from the Eastern Cape. All in all, for our first cohort, we had 23 teachers that were trained and that graduated on the 30th of June, 2021. And I'm so happy that they are even practicing those skills that they learned from Coelt currently. They even share with us to say, this is what we are doing currently. What you taught us did not go down the drain, but we are making sure that even when learners are at home, we are able to communicate with them, give them all the different activities, so that when they come to school for face-to-face, we would have covered most of the things while they are at home. And this also allows parents to participate fully so, because they will be able to check time and again what is it that has to happen and what is it that learners are supposed to do before they could go back to school. And that was from April to June. By that time, we were being trained as master trainers. And we qualified and graduated on the 1st of July. I mean the 30th of July, and then on the 1st of June, that's when that team graduated. Right now, we are busy with 63 teachers from the 8 provinces, whom are being trained by the 2 of us, myself and Skumbuzo. We are, will be on week 3 from next week because we started a bit late due to some of the things that we had to do first. And you can see that next to that, there's WhatsApp. The previous slide has a WhatsApp screenshot that was for grade 6 group, and this one is for grade 11. I'm happy that this is being used by teachers from different phases. It's not only a certain phase that is using this. Now, those 63 teachers, they also include subject advisors who are also part of this cohort and who will then finish the course on the 30th of September. And I'm happy that from the very 63, at least a minimum of 10 from that group will then be trained to become master trainers. It means we want to see this being expanded to a big number of teachers within our country, so that at a later stage, we do not have complaints because we do not know how long this pandemic would last. So as a result, we are trying as much as possible so that we try to reach to all those that are there. Let me now thank the British Council, DBE, for having made it possible that we come together and we share all these strategies and skills, and teachers are also able to go and make sure that they practice whatever they were taught. Not forgetting Anna, who just presented earlier, and Carol, who are making sure that whatever is being done is done according to what TCE expects us to do as master trainers. I will now hand over to Anna to do the way forward. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry about my slide swapping skills. I'm just going to hop back to our presentation and take us through the very last slide today, which is a summary, a humble summary of everything that we've been talking about, and trying to bring it all together. So the way forward is the name of the slide, and what we are talking about is, as we've seen and heard from our colleagues today, that parents and guardians have stepped up during the COVID crisis. We have them on board, but they need more support and training to back up their children to help us roll out WhatsApp live lessons and training through WhatsApp. So taking up on the idea of workshops and e-meetings on WhatsApp as a way of bringing on board the parents and the guardians and making sure that they are fully involved in a partnership as we move forward. Some breaking news, a couple of breaking news items here. We have the British Council investing in an ongoing online community, so a Facebook community is being developed so that we can have online continuous professional development after the Coelt courses run out, that people can continue to share their experiences and case studies together. And obviously this is a plea to the big players here. We need the government, we need the big game changers on board to make sure that we set up this broadband infrastructure for free data in times of crisis, accessibility through Donate My Phone, and all sorts of actions that need to be taken to make sure that we can really reach out to all the learners who most need it in rural areas where there's poor internet access, and that many of them are working, projecting some on the screen in a group and using notebooks with one basic handset. So we need there's a lot of work there that needs to be done in planning and implementation, and also bringing up the idea of the dream of one school at a time, and also the unique situation that we're in, meaning that schools can partner up as well, so looking towards school partnership too. And observation and reflection on what's happening is really, really important to make sure that we're keeping up the high standards and bringing in all the new methodologies and developments. So another piece of breaking news is the British Council has just hired a research team to research into what's happening in the WhatsApp online communities, as well as in across the whole of the Coelt course, the effectiveness of teaching in WhatsApp through surveys, interviews, questionnaires, and data analysis and interpretation, which will feed back in a loop into the continuous ongoing improving quality of the Coelt course, and looking into also methodologies, so what's happening in synchronous and asynchronous subgroups, so little groups that are formed around the core group, how do they work, how do they interact together, and also the way forward implies a compendium of WhatsApp lesson templates where teachers have easy access in their busy lives to WhatsApp lesson templates, and also that these are in line with CAPS assessment and developed so that they're standardised. And that's basically coming to the end of the talk now, and a little plea before we move on to Joe, who's going to take us into question and answer, which is obviously, we're bringing on other subject areas, and WhatsApp does not have a good range, or doesn't have any of the mathematic and scientific symbols in the emojis. So my question is, who is going to phone Mark Zuckerberg and ask her to make sure that he steps up? And on that note, over to Joe for the question and answer session. Thank you very much, everybody.
Okay, thank you so much. If you're here for the next session, we did start this session a little bit late, so we'll just continue for a little bit less than 10 minutes, and then we'll hand over to colleagues. So sorry if we're keeping you waiting. Thank you so much, colleagues. I think the last year when COVID hit, if you're a parent, guardian, teacher, and nothing happened, it was terrifying. You waited for the materials to get sent home, you waited for someone to tell you what to teach, and you did something. You used WhatsApp, you taught your learners, you trained teachers, so I just really applaud you, because I know how hard it is to do those WhatsApp live lessons. It's not easy. Like, it's a huge, imagine teaching 40 kids on WhatsApp, but they teach collaborative, integrated skills, high quality lessons. Sometimes Tokozile says the lesson is better on WhatsApp than what she's able to do in class. She's able to share higher quality resources. Imagine your school doesn't let the books go home to the children. You know, imagine during lockdown, but then she's able to get resources to her children. Imagine community members and family members giving phones to learners and finding data so that children can continue to learn. So I applaud you. You're the best of the best. So thank you so much. Okay, any questions for the panel? Deb Avery.
This is not a question, it's a comment, because I was privileged enough to be allowed to do the course as a master trainer and mentor one of the subject advisors as a co-master trainer. And so Kusili was in my group, and the things that people were saying, like, they went home and asked their big sisters and their cousins if they could use their phones. And the big sisters and cousins agreed so they could carry on learning. I mean, those sort of stories are gold. That people are actually taking their children's education seriously, finding the data. Yes, the data is always going to be a problem. But the fact that people are committed, parents and communities are committed to helping each other. And I think that to me was the most exciting part of being involved in this course. But honestly, if you get a chance to do it, do it. I learned, I think I'm quite techy, and I learned an enormous amount about using Zoom, about using WhatsApp, about setting up a WhatsApp dummy group. I mean, like the most wonderful thing. So you can send WhatsApps to yourself. Never even thought about doing that. It's just amazing. So talk to Jo. See if you can get a chance to do this course somehow.
Or talk to Trish, because she has her own role there. Okay. Yeah, thank you so much. Please, Catherine.
So two questions actually. So the one is around collaboration. So this is an incredibly collaborative project. Wow, hands up to you. So I was wondering, collaboration can be tricky though, you know, at so many levels and working with so many partners and with different schools and learners. What lessons around collaboration did you learn? I suppose connecting to the theme about consciousness, you know, the connecting the dots. What did you learn about collaboration? My other question is around the different age groups. Did they interact with the lessons differently? So were older learners better in terms of communication, or were the younger learners actually better?
Okay, I'll give the collaboration question to Sku, and I'll give the primary versus InterSun FET question to Trish.
The lessons learned from collaboration are basically that we, as one speaker said earlier, you go into it knowing you need each other. You don't go into it thinking you're better than the other. We are of different backgrounds and levels as masters trainers. We've got lecturers, we've got subject advisors, we've got teachers. But when we go into it, we share ideas as equals, and with a sole objective of helping the teacher to help the learner. I think that's one big lesson that we learn, and also that of humility, to say you're always willing to learn from the other. It helps a lot in terms of collaboration. Thank you.
Right. Looking at the H2 group that I spoke about, our hybrid group as an experiment, it was quite amazing how we managed to get, for example, the teachers of English from grade R to grade 7 to work as a team in coming up with lesson plans. Say the grade 7 teachers assisting the grade R and the grade 1, 2, 3, up to 5 teachers, looking at by the time these learners get to grade 7, this is what is expected. And they still have to use their CAPS document, they still have to use their teacher guidelines. But the beautiful thing is, after they had learned a skill, right across the different subjects. Now it was for each subject group, maths from grade R to grade 7, English grade R to grade 7, for the teachers now to go to a different WhatsApp group as a subject to then say, what is it that you're meant to be teaching this week? How are you going to employ the Coelt strategies and methodologies in that lesson? And then they would work together in coming up with the lesson plan. And as a facilitator was added with Colleen to all the groups so that we are there to monitor. So monitoring the groups made it very easy in that we could see what they were doing at every time. We could see the struggles that they were having in adopting the methodology for, say, a grade 7 Coelt lesson into a grade R lesson. And then we could easily assist and say, if you want your lesson to go very well, here is a template for that lesson. This is how you work around this, but you'll still achieve the same outcomes for each different subject, for each different grade. So it was so wonderful to work with that and still be able to monitor, evaluate what they are doing, and then give them feedback as well, which is the joy of becoming their mentor, their tutor, and working together in that space.
We're going to do research too. We've got a research team, Ratabile Mawela from Rhodes and Nakonya Madzanga from NMU and Prof. Simon Borg. So they will be researching the different grades as well. So what a grade R WhatsApp live lesson looks like, an FET one, completely different. Grade R, lots of emojis, lots of voice notes, lots of that. FET, very critical analysis of poetry and text and stuff. It's amazing. Natombi?
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah. I want to applaud you to that for being able to get the buy-in from the parents. You know, how they to be able to help the learners who are learning through WhatsApp. My question is, how many learners were you able to teach on this WhatsApp lesson? My second question is for other Trish. She said now they have started with 63 teachers and some advisors in 8 provinces. Is KZN included?
Yes. It's only in Australia.
All right. To answer your question, before I could create the WhatsApp group, I went to our clerks and there was some information that I was looking for. I wanted to know because I have 169 learners that I'm supposed to teach. So I asked him, will the group accommodate more than 100? He said yes. And upon getting that, I knew that maybe I would be able to reach more than 90% of my learners. I was excited. So when I checked, I realized that on the group, I had about 59. I had 59 learners, in fact. But when I checked, I realized that the learners themselves, those who did not have the smartphones, they have asked their friends to go and join them during that time. So you'll find that in one number, there are more than 3 or more than 4 learners learning. So I had nearly 90. It was 80-something of them. Thank you.
Okay, and one last question, and then I'll give you the last question. Last question, it was one in the, no, there was one more hand. Is it fine? Okay, last question for you.
Thank you.
Yes, let's hear her question. I'll give it to
I
you.
actually wanted to know about the WhatsApp groups and the minors. You know, looking at Popia, looking at privacy and their minors and all, how do you navigate that?
Let me start with what you said, maybe in the red jacket. All provinces are part of Coelt training. The only difference is under LITASA, we have 8 provinces, with exception of Limpopo. So everyone, all the provinces are part of the program. Don't worry, KZN is part of that program.
A follow-up, how then did you manage to get all? Because like where I am, I haven't heard any teacher maybe talking about it in Penton district or at Ubuntu.
Don't worry, your turn is still coming. They will select you and you'll be part of it. Remember I said we've got 63 teachers from the 8 provinces. So it means it was a selective recruitment where we could not take everybody at once. But later on, like I said, from the 63 that are trained now, we are going to have master trainers who will then roll it out to those who are not part of it right now. So don't worry, your turn will come.
But you can take advantage and give your numbers to her so that
There's 3 groups rolling it out. So DBE through the provinces, the National Association of English Teachers through their members, and then the unions as well. So there's different channels. In terms of your question about data privacy, so I mean, children should be using WhatsApp under the supervision of their parents. Yeah. So I mean, I think you have to be 12 to use WhatsApp. So if they're younger, I mean, under 12-year-olds don't have phones, so it's the adult who's working on the phone with them. But it's a closed group. There's, it's impossible for someone else to join. So it's actually much safer than many other environments that you could be doing online learning in. But yeah, I take your point. But we were in an emergency situation, so our goal was to keep learning, continuing. Yeah.
Because the participants' information is freely available even to the closed group.
Well, only the phone number and the name, your WhatsApp name. But they're all learners in the same class, so the teachers onboard them. Yeah, so. But I do take your point, but I think we did like a risk analysis of the risk of children getting no teaching and learning at all during COVID and using WhatsApp, so we found it to be safe enough for now, but I do take your point. Okay, I think you probably want to hear the next session. We've had our hour now. Thank you, panel. You guys are the best. Thank you.